Hello, everyone. Welcome to a 10-minute yoga core strength routine with me, Molly from The Consummate Athlete. So, we're going to get started in just our comfortable cross legged seated position. And we're sitting up nice and straight and tall. Our core is already activated here as we're sitting up straight and tall. And just a couple deep breaths to get us into this anytime, anywhere exercise. All right, we're going to start by bringing our right arm up in the air and onto the ground behind us. Left hand comes to our right knee. We're going to look over that right shoulder and stretch. Never mind the dachshund in and out of the frame. Deep breaths here, still getting that belly pushing out as we inhale and letting it all release as we exhale. And then we're releasing that, a little bit of a shake. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. So left arm comes up and onto the ground behind us. Right hand comes to our left knee or petting our small dog. And we look over that left shoulder. Again, nice deep breaths here. Might be a little harder to get that deep breath as we're stretching our spine. Think about it like you're wringing out your spine like you'd wring out a dishcloth. And release. Shake it out. Now we're going to get on all fours. Not quite planking like DW here yet, but we're going to get on all fours, knees about hip width apart, arms about shoulder width apart. And we're just going to go through a couple cat cows. So we're arching our back, coming into our cat, and then dropping our belly, lifting our chins, lifting our hips into our cow. We'll just do that 2 more times, just with your breath. Inhale and into cat, and exhale it into cow. One more, just we want to wake up that spine. And our last cow. And come back to neutral. Now we're going to keep planting those toes down. We're going to pop our knees up. We're going to lift our butts up and back into that first downward dog. Don't worry if your heels are not touching the ground. We can maybe pedal our legs a little bit. Just starting to work into these muscles. Feel the stretch. Feel the stretch behind your shoulder blades right down here. And then we're going to hover forward into plank, our first plank of the day, dachshund approved position here. Thinking about breathing while in our plank, our core is engaged. We're just going to stay here for another 20 seconds. If you need to shake things up a little bit, you can always lift one hand up and then the other. Play around with lifting up one foot and then the other. Doesn't make it easier, but it does make the time pass a little faster. Couple more seconds. And before we come down, feel free to drop in a couple bonus push-ups. Get a couple bonus dachshund kisses before we drop to our knees and our butt comes back towards our heels into our child's pose. Good job, buddy. Take a break, take a breather, and get ready because we're going to do it all again. So slowly make our way back to just hands and knees, tuck those toes, pop those knees, and stretch it back into that plank again. We're only going to spend 15 seconds in our regular plank here. Keep that breathing going. Probably not going to be breathing quite as deep, but we're trying. And then when you're ready, we're going to tip over onto our side, into our first side plank. Doesn't matter which side. And then our arm can come up or it can go ahead of our shoulder, whatever feels good for you. We're going to stay here just for another 20 seconds. If you need to, you can come down to your elbow. And again, we're going to keep breathing. If you want to add challenge, you can lift that top leg up. We're going to do a little starfish. Couple more seconds. Bring that leg down, bring that hand down, spin back to our regular plank, and drop down to your knees or add in a couple push-ups. And then drop down to your knees. Butt comes back to our heels, child's pose. Relax here for a second. Catch your breath, get ready to do it all over again on the other side. All right, ready for the other side? Bring it back up into our regular plank just for a few seconds. Hello. Very helpful to have a small dog here. He's kind of judgy, telling me I'm not remembering to breathe in my plank, so I'm going to remember to breathe. Couple more seconds here. And then we're going to tilt it over to our side, the other side. Again, arm can do whatever you feel like doing. Few seconds, 15 seconds left here. That top leg can come up, add a little bit of balance challenge. Breathing. Few more seconds. All right, bring it back down into our regular plank. Feel free to drop down to the knees or jump in with a couple extra push-ups. Usually between 3 and 5. And then drop it down, catch your breath. Check in with your yoga partner here. All right, toes get tucked. Don't worry, no plank this time. But knees come up and press yourself up and back into our downward dog. And maybe we pedal our legs a little bit to get a bit of stretch in here. Wherever it feels good. Then we're going to bring our right leg up and back in the air. And then our right knee up between our hands. Left leg comes down to the ground behind us. We are in our pigeon. So we're going to stay here for a few seconds, but think about moving from side to side, just little micro movements. Doesn't need to be anything big. If you want a different stretch, you can come down onto your elbows, put your head down. Even bend that back knee, that left knee. Ever feels like a great stretch. And of course, we're breathing. Always breathing. All right, when you're ready, tuck those back toes, pop that back knee, step it back into plank. You know what I'm going to say here. Drop in a couple push-ups if you feel so inclined. And then butt comes up and back into our downward dog. Again, couple breaths here, nothing fancy. Work on controlling, slowing that breathing. And when you're ready, left leg comes up and back in the air. And left knee comes up between our hands. Big stretches. And we're into the pigeon on our other side. So once again, figure out what feels good for you. Stay up. Maybe you want to come down, just sort of whatever feels the most comfortable for you. Maybe you bring that back leg up. And we're just moving around just a little tiny bit. Just those micro movements work into those weird muscles that are still feeling a little tight. Get ready, tuck that back toe, and we're going to press up into our plank. This time it's the last one, couple push-ups, just whatever feels right for you. And then drop down to your knees and over onto your butt. We're just going to come down to laying. We're going to put our heels just a few inches from our butts and relax. Nice deep breath. And when you're ready, we're going to slowly make our way up into our bridge. So we're going to lift everything up, bringing those hips up, trying to make that straight line from our chest all the way down to our knees, keeping everything engaged, core engaged, glutes engaged. Everything is working right now. We're not just letting this be a bone situation. Our muscles are working hard. If you want to add a little bit of challenge to it, we can lift up one foot and then the other, but the goal is only to hover about an inch off the ground with that foot. Our hips are staying in line, so we're not moving those hips. Just a couple little marches here in place. Again, really focusing on form. Then we're going to slowly bring it all the way down. You should feel like your spine is maybe an inch longer by the time you get onto the ground. And breathe. We're relaxing. We're going to drop our knees over to our right, and we're going to turn our head over to the left. Pet your small dog if they happen to be there. And then we're slowly going to reverse that. So our legs are going to come up and over so they tip to the left and our heads are going to look over to the right. So again, think about that beginning. We're working our spine like we are trying to wring out a dish rag. So move just at your own pace, just nice and slow. We're finally just taking it down a notch and relaxing our breath. And then we'll come back to center here. As soon as we're done with one more, let's bring it back to center, and then we're going to pull our knees just into our chest, give ourselves a little hug, maybe rock around a little bit. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back up to sitting, and boom, there we go. All right, thanks for tuning in. He's DW the Dachshund. I'm Molly Herford, and we'll see you next time.